И снова здравствуйте. Мы готовы продолжать. Так, что нам нужно? Мы отправлялись в пансион мисс Марбери.
Marbury. There is a very pretty village by this name in Cheshire. I've been going past this modest guest house for so long. I would never have thought that the ABC case would lead me here.
Да уж, никто не думал. Так, дальше нас не пускает. Ну что ж, пойдемте вовнутрь.
How do you do? You must be Mr. Hercule Poirot. Chief Inspector Jack told me that you might be coming.
Madame, you may be of valuable help to me.
It would be my pleasure to help you. Will there be some journalists there as well?
I think you might even be interviewed. You are key witness.
I've suspected him for some time, but he appeared so harmless. Oh yes, sometimes he got angry and waved his arms about. But even then, he wasn't frightening. And he was as gentle as a lamb again immediately afterwards. It was only this morning that I understood. He told me he was going to Cheltenham, but my daughter saw him at Euston Station. It's not the right station. To get to Cheltenham, you have to take the train from Paddington. And what's more, Mr. Cuss left behind an ABC with Doncaster underlined. As you can imagine, when I saw that, I called Scotland Yard.
Так, сори, секундный перерыв. Продолжаем.
Well done. You were right. He did go to Doncaster.
So I was right to warn the police.
Tell me, did you have any other reason to suspect Mr. Cust?
Well, he's odd. Sometimes he coughs really loudly and complains that his throat is burning, and sometimes he talks to himself and stares into space. He told me that it was because of a wound he got in the war. His head hasn't been quite right since, he said. And then he was in Churston when that millionaire got murdered. I found his train ticket when I washed his coat. He didn't want me to wash his shirt. He washed it himself. But I did see big brown stains on it.
Do you think it was blood?
Well, when I saw them, I thought, look, he spilled his wine or his soup all over himself. But now that I think about it, well, they did look like blood.
На редкость подозрительный.
Cut used to travel for his work. Is that correct?
Oh, it wasn't for pleasure. He was always unwell on trains. But he had to sell his stockings around England. I have to respect my engagements, he used to say.
Do you know where Cust was at the time of the murder in Andover and Bexhill? On June the 21st and July the 25th?
No, I don't know. That was a while ago, you know.
But surely you keep a register.
It won't do you much good. Mr. Cuss rents his room for the year. If he goes away for a few days, I have no reason to make a note of it. Ah, I remember one thing. Bexhill's by the sea, right?
Indeed, it is a large seaside resort.
Well, as it happens, at the start of July, Mr. Cast asked me to repair his bathing dress. Suspicious, huh?
Very interesting. Please continue.
I also forgot to say that he started buying newspapers that talked about the case.
Which newspapers?
The evening ones and the daily ones.
That will be all for now. I'm going to take a look at his room.
Take the key on the counter.
Так, мисс Марбери. Домовладелица.
It looks like I found the real master of this house. There is no need to worry about the household cat. I'm sure that Mrs. Marbury lets it do what it pleases.
Так что, может, его котик слегка поцарапал.
There is
Про котейку
no
мы уже
need to
всё
worry
посмотрели.
about the household cat. I'm sure that Mrs. Marbury lets it do what it pleases. This woman appears to be in a good mood. Mrs. Marbury is in a good mood. She's working very precisely in producing incredibly thin peel. I should check the register. Mrs. Marbury may have been hiding something from me.
I don't think my register will help you. Mr. Cuss rents his room all year. If he goes away for a few days, I have no reason to make a note of it.
The truth is becoming apparent, and I have something to say to Mrs. Marbury. Mrs. Marbury, if I am to believe the register, you rented room 306 to a certain Mr. Fishman on the day of the Bexley murder? Room 306 is Cust's room. Can you explain yourself?
Yes, I remember. Just for one night as a favour. Mr. Custer was away, all my other rooms were taken, and poor Mr. Fishman had nowhere to go.
It doesn't matter, provided that you remembered to change the sheets.
Oh, do you think so?
Так, тут нам, похоже, больше нечего делать на первом этаже. На всякий случай оглядимся. О, пианино. Пианино.
It is a very beautiful piano. Maybe Mrs. Marbury likes to play in her free time.
Может быть, и любит. Пойдемте наверх. Я так понимаю, в комнату нашего главного подозреваемого. Естественно, поглядимся в зеркало. Но мы же не можем такое пропустить. Так, о, какие-то таблеточки. Это Лаундаун, то бишь
Laudanum Cameron's Chemists. Laudanum, a medicine for coughs. It is what Dr. Clark prescribed for Mrs. Asher. This subject would probably be useful to me.
А вторая бутылочка успокоительная.
Diethyl barbituric acid, Johnson Company. I know this medicine. It is a powerful sedative. This subject would probably be useful to me. This dark stain. It could be blood, but goodness knows how long it has been there. How hopeful. This place is a real mess.
Грязная посуда, незаправленная постель.
The least we can say that Mr. Cust is not very concerned about order and balance. War of 1914-1918. By the King's order, the name of Corporal A.B. Cust, Devonshire Regiment, was published on the London Gazette on May the 10th, 1918, as mentioned in a dispatch for gallant and distinguished service. An army dispatch, wounded on the Somme front, victim of a gas attack, Corporal Cust greatly deserves his distinction.
А вот и вам печатная машинка. Чернила.
Did Cust drop it when he opened the window? Or was it Mrs. Marbury while she was cleaning? John Milligan, Managing Director, Silky Legs, Frederick Street, Leicester. To A.B. Cust, Marbury's Guest House, 1935, May the 21st. Dear Sir, further to our letters dated 5th and 10th of the month, we confirm we are you as door-to-door salesman, according to the conditions stated in our previous letters. We will send you the articles by mail and also a Redfield typewriter you will be using for every business letter. Regarding the schedule of your rounds, please do as following. June 21, Andover. Arrive by train the 20th in the evening and get a room at Station Hotel. Start your turn in the north part of the town. This letter establishes that Cust went to Andover, but the ink has hidden the destinations of his other trips. I know from Mrs. Marbury that he went to Charleston.
Много болтаешь.
Cust is parsimonious. He keeps his pencils and sharpens them until there is nothing left. It is clear that he did not grow up in luxury.
Так, чего еще мы можем пощупать?
It's an ABC.
Справочник. Ножик.
A long-bladed knife. A murderer's weapon. This object will probably be useful to me.
И, наконец, печатная машина.
I have to get the ribbon. How am I going to do it? Something is blocking the ribbon. The ribbon is jammed.
Не можешь ее ножом подцепить, нет?
The left-hand heel has been removed. The right-hand heel has been removed. Something is blocking the ribbon.
О,
And here is the ribbon. Let us see if it was indeed used to write the letters sent by ABC. I only need the ink ribbon for my inquiry. I will let Jack clean the keyboard if he wishes. All the letters announcing the murders were written on Cust's typewriter. ABC guys, enough to sign about a dozen murders. It's closed. It's closed. This knife is very useful. Who knows? Maybe it never cut anything other than string. Stockings. Trousers, white shirts. Everything has been washed very well. Most probably the basting dress repaired by Mrs. Marbury's expert hands. The Bexhill Daily paper, dated from the day of the Bexhill murder. All the main articles referring to the ABC case are here, from the Churston murder onwards. Nothing before that date. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Нет.
The register shows that Cust did not sleep at the guest house on the day of the murder. Where was he? No use continuing the inspection of this room. Goodbye, Mrs. Marbury. Thank you for your help.
Bye.
Ah, Chief Inspector. I was about to leave.
Good evening, Chief Inspector. Welcome. Please excuse me, I must go to the kitchen. I'll leave the key of Mr. Cust on the counter.
I'm sorry I'm late. I've spent ages with the Doncaster police. And you?
I have established one fact. On 3 occasions, Cust was at the scene on the day of the crimes. I had best talk to Job.
I've listened closely to what you have to say, Poirot. For me, there's no doubt Cust is guilty. Do you have any element that might prove the contrary?
That is what we're going to look for. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Так, Мугли-каст. Эй, эй. Да, ё-моё.
The evidence against Cust is overwhelming. His presence at the scenes, the knife, the blood-stained shirt, the ABCs in a box.
C'est vrai. However, the blood Mrs. Marbury saw on Cust's shirt may have been his own. According to his medical records, he suffers from hemoptysis.
What?
The murderer cut Sir Carmichael's throat from behind, and the blood spurted outwards. You would expect the murderer's shirt to be stained on the sleeves, not on the buttonholes, yet we see quite the opposite. You would expect the murderer to keep the newspaper articles about his crimes. But Cust's collection starts in Cheston, as if it discovered the case rather late.
I agree it's troubling, but it doesn't change my mind. There's small details that we should be able to clear up by questioning Cust.
When can you talk to him?
Doncaster is sending him to us on the first train.
Are they questioning him already?
He says he can't remember a thing.
It's plausible. Doctors say he suffers from absences and amnesia. Mrs. Marbury has confirmed this.
He may have done the murders in an altered state.
A familiar situation.
It's not enough to clear his name. Dr. Thompson insisted that even if you don't know what you're doing, you never commit a murder without wanting to.
Très intéressant. I shall remember that.
Right. I'll go and examine the suspect's room.
Chief Inspector, I took the liberty of removing a few clues to examinatum.
All right, we'll discuss them tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to see if you've missed something.
Ну, проверяй, проверяй. Отправимся в Скотланд-Ярд.
To Scotland Yard, please. This man is not in good shape. He is worried and very tired, and other police have been hard on him.
Так, ну что ж, побеседуем с нашим
What do you
подозреваемым.
want from me?
Good day, Mr. Cust. I am Hercule Poirot.
Ah, you're the detective.
Yes, I am the person you have been sending the letters to.
I didn't write these letters. I've already said so.
Très bien. You did not write these letters. But the question remains, who did?
Probably one of my enemies. I have many.
Ooh.
I do not believe that you are capable of murder, Mr. Cust.
I hope not.
You suffered during the war.
It's true. I was wounded. I suffered. But the army was the only place I didn't feel inferior. No questions. Just orders to follow.
But ever since you were wounded, you have absences, bouts of amnesia.
And headaches.
Professor Clark treated you.
Yes, a few years ago he really helped me with my burned throat.
Of course, you never considered killing a doctor who took such good care of you.
No, never.
Do you deny being at the scene of the crimes?
So? There was no harm in being there. It was only for my work.
You were seen at all the crime scenes.
Yes, I was. I travel a lot. But not for pleasure. I am terribly unwell in trains. But I had to respect my engagements. My employer gave me very precise written instructions about the towns I had to visit.
Let's see. The company you claim to work for, Silky Legs, has never heard of you. And as for these letters they sent you, they were written on your own typewriter.
The company sent me the typewriter when I started working for them.
Yes, but the letters were received afterwards. So it would appear that you typed them before sending them to yourself.
I don't remember. Good God!
Тяжелый случай.
I don't know what's happening to me. My head hurts terribly.
Так, это настойку нет.
Laudanum, a medicine. Take this. It will help you.
Oh, I think I'll be fine.
Let us see, Cust. Look at me. You know very well that you committed these murders?
Yes, I know.
But I'm not wrong in saying that you do not know why you committed them.
No, I don't.
О, ачивочка. Красный крест. Что за ачивочка? Красный крест. Мы позаботились о леди Кларк и о Красте.
Let us leave Cust alone. He's at the end of his tether.
Так, нет, это мы уже изучили.
And what conclusions have you drawn?
Plenty. It might help us to understand him a little better. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Что известно о здоровье Каста? Кровохаркает. Проблемы с горлом. Провалы в памяти. Нет. По-моему, вот эти было. Нет, не угадал. Опять не угадал.
I don't see any clearer than before. This is worse.
There is one point to highlight. C'est curieux. Cust admits that he killed, but he does not know why. What did Dr. Thompson say? Even if Cust killed while in an altered state, it still must have been his deepest desire. He must have had a motive.
Let's keep it simple. Never mind his motive. He confessed.
But you see, he can confess to anything and everything. He denied the murders and then confessed to them. He confirmed that he never typed the letters. Then, with great ease, I managed to get him to say quite the opposite.
Come on, he behaved like a guilty man. He lied to his landlady.
Because deep down he believes himself guilty. From the papers, he noticed that he had always been at the scene of the crimes. He must think that he killed and then simply forgot what he had done.
How can you be so sure?
Let us look at his psychological profile. You will understand my point of view.
Психологический портрет.
Let us now try and get our brains...
Да-да-да. Brain cells. То есть, да, он ненавидит. Нифига не щедрый.
You see? Cust's character is quite the opposite of the murderer's.
But if he's a madman, can we really talk about his character?
You know very well that our murderer does not behave like a psychopath. Apart from the signature, there is no ritual repetition in the choice of victims.
Very well, you're right as always. So we have no confession, no culprit, no suspects, nothing. And all that after 2 months of inquiry? What shall I do?
Have faith. Just give me 24 hours. To Whitehaven, please.
Cust's arrest is a great success for you, Poirot. It's all clear now, except maybe 1 or 2 details.
Details. Ah, mon ami. The devil is in the detail, as we say.
Excuse me?
Patience, Hastings. Everything will be clear once our guests arrive. Best be prepared. Slip a revolver into your pocket before they do.
A revolver? But Poirot, what are you afraid of?
Trust me. It is important you carry a weapon for this meeting. I will lend you mine.
What about telling me what you have in mind?
Surtout pas. You wouldn't be able to play your role. Wait 1 moment, I will bring you my weapon.
Ну, давайте для начала попробуем осмотреться. Справочник.
Churston, Devon, population 500 inhabitants. Hourly of trains. London, Churston. Trains of evening. London, 6:45 p.m. Newton about 11 a.m. Churston, 11:45 a.m. London. Hastings' photo album. He is very proud of his bag. Flicker, September 11th, 1935. His name is A.B. Cust. His truck in Endo. His latest victim would have been Dick D. Dunbar. Mr. Dunbar, thanks to the quick intervention of the Lancet, September 11th, 1935. General Medical Journal. The alphabet murderer is not psychotic, according to Professor Thompson. In an early issue, we claimed that the alphabet murderer was not psychotic. Our assertion has just been confirmed by Professor Thompson, a Scotland Yard expert, who has spoken to the prisoner at great length. Not all obsessional killers are psychotic, he explained. It is true that Cust has a disturbed personality and memory disorders. But his amnesia, whether real or pretended, does not alter the fact that he was perfectly lucid at the time of his acts. Therefore, he will not escape punishment.
Ну, насчет сознания я бы поспорил. Так, где? Тут, что ли, храним оружие?
It is not the right. The white ammunition are blank cartridges. The others are real bullets. I have to choose the type of bullets to load. The revolver is loaded with blancs. I still have time to choose real bullets.
What about telling...
Surtout pas.
Pardon, вот тебе пистолет.
Voila, I don't trust you with my weapon. It has hardly been used. It is almost new. Chief Inspector, is that you?
Yes. Sorry, but we haven't found anything.
Have you checked the typewriter?
And the packaging, the letter, and the ribbon reel. We've only found prints left by Cust and his landlady.
Well, never mind, I shall make do.
So, are you still going to hold your meeting?
Of course, Chief Inspector. I can hear my guest coming up the stairs.
Why have you brought us here, Mr. Poirot?
Since Cust's arrest, I thought it was all done and dusted. Miss Gray formally identified him, as well as Miss Barnard.
Yes, and the stockings he saw drove the same brand as the ones found at my aunt's.
This is all true. However, a case is not closed if some questions remain open. And one question is, why did the murderer send me his letters? Why did he challenge me, Hercule Poirot?
Perhaps he wanted to play with you, to taunt you.
Xenophobia? Maybe he didn't like you because you're foreign.
I may be wrong, but maybe by provoking you, he was looking for glory?
All these theories should be studied. Let us now try and get our...
План намеренный.
Is everything clear now?
You might like to explain your reasoning again.
Of course. First of all, remember that the murderer made it a rule to always post his letter before the murder. He never digressed from that rule. However, in Charleston, he encountered a problem. The village has only 500 inhabitants. With advance warning, it would be easy to arrest him. Therefore, the murderer delayed his letters deliberately with the wrong address. The plan wouldn't have worked if he'd sent it to Scotland Yard or the papers because everybody knows their addresses. The mistake would have been corrected and the letter would have been on time. That is why the murderer chose me as the recipient.
Because for his plan to succeed, it was necessary for at least one of the letters to have a wrong address and get lost. It was very cunning.
Absolument. It is a very subtle plan. It matches the profile we have drawn up of him perfectly. That of an intelligent, daring and calculating murderer.
But that's not how you describe Cust.
Вот именно.
You are quite right, mademoiselle. Like you, I find it hard to believe that this dull character is the clever murderer we are looking for.
Do madmen... I mean, if he's...
No doubt. But the murderer is not.
But if Cust is not guilty, how do you explain his
Mr. Clark, the answer to your question is in the medical records of your brother's patients. Documents which Cust most certainly did not have access to. Let us now. Dr. Clark's patients' records provided a very useful list of potential victims, sorted by alphabetical order. The killer definitely used it, explaining the fact that all the victims were former patients of the doctor. It is this fact that clears Cust once and for all, because he never had access to these records. So how did he happen to be at the scene of the crimes? Either the murderer sent him there, or Cust was following him closely. Cust's highly suggestible nature leads us to the second hypothesis. The murderer was manipulating him. He systematically sent Cust to the towns where he was going to strike, so that the suspicion would land on the poor man's shoulder.
That's evil. What sort of killer could have such a plan? And what would he gain from 3 completely different murders?
Indeed, it seems unlikely that the same murderer committed all the crimes. What should we take from that? Just one murder was of benefit to the murderer, the others were just diversions. On reflection, there is only one conclusion. The murderer killed once out of interest and twice to divert our attention. This reasoning points at two potential culprits.
Franklin Clark.
Donald Fraser?
Yes, mademoiselle, that's good thinking. Mr. Fraser may have killed Betty out of jealousy. Mr. Clark may have killed his brother in order to inherit his large fortune. Both have a motive.
But Donald did not have access to Dr. Clark's records.
Please allow me to disagree with you, mademoiselle. He works for Court and Brunskill, one of whose clients was Sir Carmichael.
It doesn't prove that I went to Comeside.
You could have done it, and you may have used the opportunity to take a look at Sir Carmichael's records.
You think I'm guilty?
You or Mr. Franklin Clark?
That's ridiculous.
Both of you have a motive. The question is, which of you has the profile that most resembles the murderer? Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Дональд умен. Умный человек. Два несовпадения. Остальное пока совпадает.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donald may share many character traits with the murderer, but he does not have his cold indifference. He has a temper. It is hard to imagine him planning anything. Also, jealousy is his motive, and crimes of passion are rarely planned.
Right, I suppose it's my turn to be subjected to the same scrutiny.
Absolument, Mr. Clark. Let us now...
Ай. Умный. Уверен в себе. Нет. Все совпадает.
As you have all seen, there is a disturbing similarity between Mr. Clark's profile and that of the killer. In actual fact, it is exactly the same.
Mr. Poirot, your psychological studies are interesting, but your conclusions do not add up. Why would I have wished my brother's death? The inheritance is lawfully mine. I just have to wait.
No, you had to act quickly. Because of Miss Grey. Mademoiselle, although you haven't been telling the truth, there is no doubt in my mind that you would have found a way to marry Sir Carmichael after Lady Clark's death. For you, Mr. Clark, it was a disaster. If Miss Grey had children by your brother, you would not have inherited a thing. You realized the danger after reading several letters from Comside, especially one in which your brother opened his heart to you. So you hurried home from China, and you took action. In truth, Cust was no more than a puppet manipulated by the real culprit. You, Mr. Clark.
Such an imagination, Mr. Poirot. In fact, nobody manipulated Cust. The famous instructions he received by post. He wrote them on the typewriter. We know that for sure.
Oh, no. You know perfectly well. That is not true. Eh bien, voilà. Light has now been shed on the ABC murders.
Your theories are ingenious, but you haven't any proof.
One point to him. For the moment, I have no material proof. Either I admit to it, or I bluff. One thing proves it. The prints you left on Cust's typewriter.
Enough.
Oh, of course you wiped the typewriter before sending it. But not carefully enough. Scotland Yard has found your print along with those of Cust.
I understand why you never wanted to lend me your new typewriter, and why you were searching through your brother's things. And the hole you dug on the moors. What did you hide there? The knife you used to kill your brother?
Game, set, match. You win, Mr. Poirot. But it was worth trying. Don't come near me! I'll never let you take me, Mr. Poirot!
Холостой.
I'm sorry, Mr. Clark, there is no easy death for you. I expected your reaction, so I used blanks. I'm sorry, mademoiselle, but your second chance has been lost. Franklin Clark will never inherit his brother's fortune.
Ну что ж, вот мы с вами наконец-то за 2 с небольшим стрима закончили историю об убийствах по алфавиту. Не на 100,
Disappointed
конечно,
at having missed
процентов.
the chance to become Lady Clark, Thora Grey left England. Donald Fraser and Megan Barnard married. On Poirot's recommendation, Mary Drower started to work for Lady Clark. The elderly lady's condition suddenly took a turn for the better. And a few months later, to Dr. Logan's great surprise, she was back on her feet again. According to this eminent physician, it appears to be an extremely rare case of spontaneous remission. Lady Clark has enjoyed very good health
Привет,
ever
ZX.
since.
Ты, к сожалению, уже к самому концу подошел.
Journal of an Innocent. The incredible story of ABC. As for A.B. Cust, after being advised by Poirot, he made a great deal of money by selling his story to the press. And as for me,
Немного, ага.
and with business booming, the Black Swan has become the #1 tourist attraction in the whole of Yorkshire, even more popular than York Minster.
Ну и как раз закончили примерно тогда, когда я и планировал. Так что спасибо всем, кто досидел вторую часть сегодняшнего стрима. Увидимся с вами завтра. Завтра у нас Skyrim вместо четверга. Запись этого стрима, как всегда, через некоторое время будет выложена на YouTube. А я с вами прощаюсь. До завтра.